Hello again. Welcome back to the channel. You know, a lot of the channels talk about red flags for this, red flags for that. One has to ask the question, truly, what is a red flag? Red flag is a warning sign. It's a sign that you pay attention to. But what people are telling you of red flags, when really they're not red flags at all. They're only red flags if you find that you can't deal with a particular issue. Give you an example. If you think you're a mature person and when you get a little upset, you react in a certain way. Well, Filipinos who are supposedly mature also react in a certain mature way as far as they're concerned. It's a trait. It is a way that they are used to dealing with conflict. We would refer to it maybe as tempo, and really what it is, it's just a childish, from our point of view, a childish reaction to something they don't want to hear or confront. But that's not what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about is red flags, meaning who actually creates the red flag, you or them? Yes, there's always going to be a situation, and I hate that expression, um, a financial involvement with your lady from the Philippines. Sure, it's a generalization, but essentially, a lot of those that come to the Philippines tend to be attracted to the more vulnerable, the ones that are easier to chat up, and therefore they will attract a certain group of people that wouldn't normally be in their circle of friends. Now, I liken that to the idea that you often see, and I'm here in the metropolitan area of Manila on many occasions now in the last 4 weeks. And you see many, yes, many Americans. Yeah, Americans. I haven't seen a lot of Australians or English people wandering around with 18 to 25-year-olds arm in arm or hand in hand. So obviously Americans think the world has just become their oyster here in the Philippines. But why, you might say? Well, from the girls' point of view, you offer them an opportunity of excitement, an opportunity to have wealth that they've never actually had themselves. Sure, they've got salaries that maybe give them 10, 15,000 a month. And so the money's gone through their hands on very essential things. But for you, 15,000 is nothing. They want a scooter, no problem. Pay down payments and make the payments every month, maybe 6 to 8,000 a month for the next 6 months. Not a problem when you have a pension and a big fat wallet as well. But for them, it's an unknown commodity that they've never really experienced. Somebody who is prepared to buy them virtually anything. So when you talk about a transactional relationship, that's exactly what it is. They're providing you with what you desire. And I say what you desire is maybe not what you want. Because sooner or later, the desire might fade from your point of view, and then it might want to be satisfied. And of course, many of you guys can't provide that service. So, where is the red flag there? You know they want good times. You know they want to wine and dine in nice restaurants just like you. You think you're back in the US or the UK or Australia and you're wining and dining your beautiful beau. Whereas for them, they're being taken out by their sugar daddy. Yes, you are their sugar daddy. Don't kid yourself that you're anything more than that. You might say, "Do you love me, darling?" And they might say, "Yes, of course I do." And of course you fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. But the reality is that when the light goes out, they're not necessarily thinking of you. They're thinking of their family, their friends, their schoolmates, their buddies, maybe even an ex-boyfriend. But they're certainly not necessarily thinking of you. But you're snoozing and maybe snoring a little bit on the other side of the bed now you've had your wicked way, and therefore oblivious to the realities of taking life from a more serious point of view. Some of you choose to come here to the Philippines to retire, so you have a slightly different way of looking and putting together your plan for the future. But for many, it's really like a continuous holiday. They have this money in their wallet, they have a certain amount that they're prepared to spend each week, probably only in their mind, never using up all of what they have. But they also follow a similar pattern, that is that they hang around with others similar, people from their own country, and they drink and they have good times. And you will notice that the girls tend to sit on one side of the room and the men, the gentlemen, on the other, talking about all their exploits, in the military probably, and therefore they're completely disconnected from what's going on the other side of the room. They're, of course, discussing on how much or how long it will be before they get themselves a green card and have a chance to live in the big, big US of A. Now, do you blame them? I don't think so. They have an opportunity to break out of what is a pretty poor future here in the Philippines, in the sense that the powers that be don't make it that easy for them to leave the country. There's a certain rigmarole that they've got to go through to even leave with you on an aeroplane. Some of them who travelled overseas on a regular basis are more likely not to go through that, but don't count your chickens before they're hatched. Oh, we've got a lot of sayings here. But guys, remember, they have another life, a full life, a complete life before you came along. And when you came along, you're like a new bicycle, a new motorbike, a new car. And we all know that sooner or later they become not so shiny, not so eye-catching as they were the day they were in the showroom. Therefore, when you talk about red flags, ask yourself, could you live in a world where somebody else has got a complete world? You think yours is a complete world, where in actual fact, it's only scratching at the surface. And therefore, you have to be prepared to live a life that is self-sufficient. Self-sufficient in the sense that you wake up each morning and you think, now what can I do today that makes her life happy? What can you do that will satisfy you with the minimal amount of effort, just like she will be doing for you? She doesn't have to give you that much. A few pecks on the cheek, a pinch on the bum, and you're happy. You think she loves you, when in actual fact, she is just going through the motions. And it is true that if you meet a Filipina who's been and worked overseas for a long time, and you meet her overseas, she's become accustomed to the method and the thinking patterns of where you've come from. So she's more likely to have a better outlook with you long term, even if you both decide to come and retire here in the Philippines. But of course, not everybody wants an old fish. They want a nice fresh fish. And therefore, the Philippines offers a great variety of fish in its market. So you enjoy life. Don't take all the other channels so seriously. Does it really matter if you really do consider living next to a hospital where you can get medical help when you need it? Is it that important that you need all those things? For some of you, yes, it is. But then you have to ask yourself, why, in fact, are you here in the Philippines? Why wouldn't you stay where there's the safety net offered by your own country in medical? Why would you put yourself at risk? Because the only one you're putting them at risk for is someone who really doesn't really care about you. Ask yourself, what does she really know about you? Does she know that you really truly care for her? Does she really, really know? I doubt it. It's not that you're not telling her. She just doesn't comprehend it. And therefore, sadly, we're doomed, all of us, to a life where we really need to take a newer look at how life really is here in the Philippines. Beautiful beaches, yes. Beautiful women, yes. Happy men? Not all. That doesn't include me, of course. I'm always happy, regardless whether the shit's hitting me or not. The fact is that I do something about it. And hopefully you will too. That you will wake up one day and realize that you can survive here in the Philippines, but it is a completely new way of survival. And it's something that isn't always easy for many of us to do. So I wish you all good luck, and I hope that you have a lovely rest of the weekend and that you prepare for another week, hopefully, of good times ahead. Don't forget, of course, you can support the channel on, what is it called? paypal.me/John N. Childs. All contributions greatly received. Bye now.